All right, we are back again to this pantry. Everything I do to keep it organized is not working. Everything just gets thrown in there. So I need to make a change. This cabinet here is like our vitamins, our first aid, our medicines, all that junk in this cabinet, which also isn't working. And this closet is in our hallway. This has a lot of our paper goods, toiletries, soaps, crap like that, cleaning products. This shelf is supposed to be for clean towels, but I don't have any clean towels right now, so I gotta tackle that. Cleaning products, extra toilet paper. But this, although it does function fairly well, I feel like I can repurpose this a little to make the other cabinets work better. And then we just put this cabinet in. Now, this is just freestanding, but I just stuffed some blankets in it for right now and pillows. And then I've got a little basket for my husband's tools that he uses on the regular in the house, but I've got quite a bit of extra space. So I'm going to see what I can move around and get this organized.
When I started this decluttering project, I just wanted to get my little pantry clean that's upstairs in my kitchen. I do have a little bit bigger pantry in my basement, but the stuff that's upstairs is the stuff that I, access more regularly, like things that are opened. If there's an open box of cereal or something like that, that goes in there. Anywho, so I set out to clean my pantry yet again. I've done this so many times, I can't figure out a way to make it function properly for me, so I keep going back to it. So when I started this, I decided that something needed to change and that I would take quite a bit of stuff out of the pantry because I couldn't get to my protein bars, and the protein powder was getting buried, so I wouldn't use it because I'd forget about it, things like that. So I decided to use that little cabinet next to my fridge as my kind of, specialty products, protein powders and things like that. So that was great, and I really liked that idea. I wanted to put my baking stuff in it, but it didn't fit. My cabinets are very oddly short, or the shelves are short, I don't know. And making the shelves taller doesn't really work because then I literally have to just take a shelf out and then I don't have as much space. So that wouldn't work for me. But because I was going to use that little cabinet, that's where we kept our vitamins and our medicines and things like that, first aid things, I needed to find a different spot for that. And then that spiraled into the hallway closet, because I thought that's the next logical place that we would look for vitamins and medicine. So then I had to get that functioning differently. And then because of that, now I need a place for the cleaning products and whatever else so that I could make room for the vitamins and the medicines and the first aid things. So then now we're to this tall cabinet that I got from my sister. They were getting rid of it. And I said, yeah, I'll take it. So my point is, when I declutter, and I imagine it's probably the same for a lot of people, it's like one project leads to another project, and it's this domino effect. And it's almost like I can't just clean out my pantry. I have to do 15 other things before I can get the pantry cleaned out. Otherwise, it's just going to go back to exactly how it was. And that makes it very difficult, for me at least, to do these projects because it seems like I don't have good systems in place and things aren't functioning properly. So it's not just a matter of, I'll declutter and get rid of a couple things. It's like I need to change around the whole way that I'm doing everything so that things will function better and we won't come back to now everything's thrown in here and it's a junk fest again.
All right, so this is where we're at with this. That's the little cleaning caddy for the bathrooms. I'm almost out of glass cleaner, so I'm going to try to make my own when this is out. Should probably actually make it now and try it. And then extra spray bottles. And then I put the toilet cleaner gel in baskets because it's really hard to reach back there. So the I'll be able to just pull that basket up. Got those extra toilet, what do you call them? The little gel sticky things. These we use more frequently, so those are low enough to get without the stool. And then this is all like the dusting stuff. This is the whole kit, which I don't really use all of it, but I do use these. And this is the extra mop head. So I think that's good. And I think I like that for now. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that shelf. I should have just, oh, maybe I'll just tuck it in the side here. There we go. That'll work for now. Okay, so that's good. Step 2. All right, so we're back to this. I got that whole shelf pretty much cleaned off, and then kind of the cluttery stuff. There's just, I feel like we don't use a lot of this stuff. I organized it all a while ago, and it seems like a lot of it we haven't even touched. So, you know, maybe it's time to just get rid of stuff. I don't know.
This is another problem that I have when I'm trying to clean things, declutter things. I don't like to waste things, and I don't like just throwing something away, or, you know, if I feel like, let me give you an example. Back this train up. So I have a lot of lotion, and some of it, like, I bought on clearance, and I was like, ooh, clearance lotion, so I just bought it. And some of it was like Dollar Tree stuff, and you know how it is at Dollar Tree, you find a thing you like, and then they have it for 2 weeks, and then it's gone, and you never see it again. So I bought a few of them, and now I have all this lotion, and nobody's using it. So I'm kind of stuck, and you can't really donate that kind of stuff to like Goodwill. They don't want your lotion. But I don't want to throw it away because there's nothing wrong with it. So I just have it. And I'm like, well, we're not going to stop using lotion, so eventually it'll get used up. But now I have to store all this lotion, and I run into that issue a lot because I used to, you know, if I found a good deal on something, I would kind of stock up. You know, I'm not talking like hundreds or even 20s or whatever. I'm just talking like 3 or 4 or 5. But, you know, lotion's kind of one of those things where it doesn't go super fast unless you're using it a ton, and we don't. So then I've got a lot of extras. And then I have things like hairspray, you know, colored hairspray, and we use that maybe twice a year when the kids have a thing for school and we need things like that. So if I got rid of it, I'd end up buying it again. But, you know, it's hard to justify keeping because we hardly ever use it. So I don't really know what my move is on that. So that's kind of where I get stuck in these things because I have them in this closet. They're taking up space, but I'm not okay yet with just getting rid of them.
This isn't working out. This stuff's already not fitting. Everything looks junky. I don't know how to organize this. I barely got maybe half of this junk out. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to maybe take a break and just think this over because this isn't working how I thought it was going to. Okay, I've got a couple minutes to try to make this work. I picked these up at Dollar Tree, just these little riser things. And then I picked up these longer baskets, which I did check at the store to make sure that they fit under here. And then I got these little things to go on top of the shelf, like that. So I'm hoping I can fit a couple across and then have room for, I've got like a turn, what do you call those, Lazy Susan? And hopefully I can make this work. I was thinking I would do 3 across, but then I don't think I'll have room for that Lazy Susan. So I might just do 2 across, and we'll see how that works. Oops. Uh-oh, that one's like smaller. maybe I'll do one on either side. Okay. That seems all right. We'll see if we can fit everything there, and then I'll put the vitamins and stuff there, and that might work. Probably won't though. I've got a lot of stuff.
So another thing I want to point out about these spaces that I'm decluttering is just because I decluttered it and I set up a system, it doesn't always work. And these spaces need to be revisited, sometimes several times, until they function. Like my living room that I decluttered in the video last month, that was probably the third time that I went through that living room and tried to make things work for me, change things around, shift where the tables are, whatever, just to get it to function better. And I will say that, this time around, it's been working pretty good for us. I haven't moved that Lego table yet that I was talking about, but it definitely it takes like 5 minutes to clean up, which is so wonderful. And in general, it looks pretty decent. So that was 3 times, maybe 4 times that I went through that living room. And these other spaces as well, like, just because you declutter something doesn't mean that it's done. Sometimes you have to go back and do it again, or adjust a thing here or there, or find a different way to set things up because it's not working for you. And that's okay, just as long as you recognize this isn't working, I need to make a change. Because if you just say, well, I already decluttered it and there's nothing I can do and it's not working and, I'm a failure, like nothing makes you feel like a bigger failure than doing a thing and then it doesn't work. That sucks, and I get that. But, I've learned that sometimes you have to do it a few times to figure out what does actually work for you, because you don't know until you try it.
Okay, so this is what I ended up doing with this. I think it looks great. I did have to swap out the cough drops because I had a few more that I missed. But when that goes down, I think I'm going to put this one back because I really like the look of that. Maybe I can just put that there so I have it ready to go. Now, I still need room for the vitamins because this is just like first aid and like Vapo Rub and medicine. So I gotta figure out, I think this shelf is where I need to change something here. Got all these dumb things, and whenever those get used up, I'm gonna not stock them anymore because we don't use them. So I'll have this area open and do that. Alright, so I moved the other stuff off of this shelf. I'm really happy with how this looks. These are all the vitamins. I set this up, which means I think I can get one of these on there and have a little bit more space. So I'm going to do that. And then I swiped a riser from a different spot in my house just to see if it would work. It works great. This spins. Really happy with that. These are all set up nice. So I am thrilled with the way that looks. Baby, you want to come look at it? No, not right now. So now this is empty and I can implement my plan and hopefully it'll work.
I'm really happy with how that hallway closet turned out. It's been a while and we still have it like that. It's functioning really well. Everything's easy to get to. I have had to make a few adjustments here and there, and I do need to go through it again because there's stuff, especially on the top shelf, that we aren't using. In fact, I might get up and go do that after I'm done with this because I've just been thinking about it while I'm editing this video. This pantry, though, it doesn't have a good system. I decided to put my specialty products in that small cabinet. That has been working pretty well, and it's just kind of like my cabinet now. And I keep things in there, like I do this drink in the morning. It's like a vitamin mineral drink that I take in the morning, and then I keep my shaker cups up there and my protein bars, and it works out really well. And it's really made me realize that decluttering is an ongoing thing. And even if, I get to the end of this year, my goal for this year is to declutter my entire house. I divided my house into roughly 12 spaces. I'm doing one a month. It's been going okay so far. So when the year is over, my whole house should have had, me go through it and declutter it, and it should be clean. I mean, basically that's the goal here, is to declutter every space in my house this year so that it functions. But I have to keep revisiting the spaces that I did before and staying on top of everything, because I'm not the only one that lives here, and other people are putting things in places. Sometimes I set a thing down and don't put it away. Sometimes I realize that maybe, we don't need all the lotion, and maybe there's one or two that somebody doesn't like and I should just get rid of it. You have to go through and, check to see if you're even using some of this junk. I just cleaned out this small cabinet yesterday, I think, and the cereals I tried, they were like, what are those called? Like the Magic Spoon or Wonder cereal or whatever. They're like low carby cereals that are supposed to be good. Some of them were nasty, and I finally was like, nobody's eating these. I let the kids try them all. They were getting stale. They were gross. I finally got rid of them, made some more room in this cabinet, and I'm happy with that. Or like I have this jar, I put a mason jar in that cabinet now to hold my little drink packets, like what are they called? Liquid IVs. And it puts them right in front of my face, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of, it's not like, oh, this is so pretty, but it makes me feel good about the space and how I'm utilizing it. So there's just little upgrades that I do as we go, maybe changing out a basket or, switching some things around and making it just a little bit more functional without having to do a complete overhaul. And it does make a difference, and it matters. But like I said, decluttering is like a continual thing, and you have to stay on top of the spaces. You have to recheck things. You have to say, okay, I haven't used this in 6 months. Is this practical to take up my space in this hallway closet? And sometimes, yeah, I have an entire basket full of sunscreen. We don't need it right now. It's winter, but we will use it again when summer comes. So that's the kind of stuff. I also have an entire basket of loofahs, and I bought them dirt cheap. They don't go bad. We're always going to wash ourselves. So I keep them, and when we need a loofah, I have them. So that's the kind of stuff, you have to make decisions about. Is this worth keeping? Is it functional? Am I ever going to use it? And that's kind of where I'm at with the spaces I've already done, is I need to go back and check up on them, I guess is a good way to put it, and make sure that it's still
I think this looks
functioning
okay. I'm
the
going
way
to
that I
sort
want
that
it
basket, and then I'm going to try to use up like the extra protein powders, the chia seeds, because I don't think that I need to have both flavors in here. I can just have one, but these are both open, so I don't want to send one to the downstairs pantry. And then like this too, I've got some room in there still. So I'll get this a little more organized and see if it works. And then I did free up quite a bit of space in here. So I'm going to try to get this mess taken care of. Oh, I should put my tea over here too. I just bought this. I haven't had this in years, and I just bought it. I don't know if I'll buy it again, but it definitely needs a place there. So then I think I'm gonna make like these 2 shelves for baking, and then try to organize everything else, but we'll probably get to that in a second here for you guys. A lot longer for me. Oh, here, look. Like this kind of stuff. This stuff gets lost in my pantry, and then when I found this, I just shoved it in there and forgot about it. So I'll put this here, and then tomorrow I can use it up. Alright, so now I'm running into this issue where I bought this riser because I have all these spices, and it's not that I use them all. I don't even know what I have. I did make a big master list, but they're just in a jumble because I don't have a good way to store them, and I have a lot of doubles. Like there's 2 paprikas right here. So I bought this thinking I could get it a little more organized, but now I need to figure out, if we jump to here, I don't use thyme leaves maybe, but once in a great while. And like the seasoned salt, I hardly ever use. So I need to reorganize this whole cabinet so that I can continue on with this section, which seems to be this whole project is me having to do another part to finish up what I was getting at. So I'm going to work on this for a couple minutes and just trying to figure out, like we have this here, which is our most used things, and I love that. And then this is our next, most frequently used things. And then it just kind of goes up. This would be the next stuff we'd reach for. And then I want this to be kind of, stuff that I need once in a while, but not all the time. But I want it organized so I don't have to go buy it thinking I don't have it. So that's what I'm going to work on now.
So these are just clips of the little spaces that I mentioned that I just reorganized a bit, made them a little more functional, switched around some stuff. This is that cabinet. I just did this yesterday, I think. Kind of cleaned it out and made it look a little nicer. And then this is that tall freestanding cabinet. It's kind of junky, but the best thing I did about this was put a Goodwill basket. So that red laundry basket is now our Goodwill basket. And whenever anybody says, I don't want this anymore, I say, put it in the basket. And that has changed my life. It's been so nice. Look, I have clean towels. I did just get up, as I talked about it a minute ago. I got up and kind of sorted that a little bit and got rid of a couple things. It wasn't film worthy, but it was just a quick thing that I did. So you got to maintain the spaces. That's all I'm getting at. Okay, let's talk about this mess. Last summer, I set out to declutter my house, and I counted it out. 13 weeks of summer. Oh, hold on, my microphone's falling off here. So 13 weeks of summer, I divided my house up into spaces because that's the only way I can wrap my brain around it. Otherwise, I just think about the entire project instead of a small area. So I started in on these projects, and one of the things I wanted to do was clean out the back room. When we moved in, we had storage units. I think we had a big one and a little one, and we didn't want to pay for them anymore. It was over $100 a month for these storage units. So we took everything and put it into the back area of our basement because we had a nice big open basement. It's not finished, but it was clean and dry and open. So we put all the stuff into this back area. And lately I was thinking, I want a craft room and an office type space because I do all the bookkeeping and stuff for the household, and I love to craft. So I took my desk, which was in this room, in this pantry area on the opposite side. I took that and I started clearing out the back room, moved my desk into there. So this junk that's in the pantry is what, all of the junk that got piled up in the desk area, in random places, the stuff that we moved out of that back room to fit the desk in. It's literally just a huge junk pile that doesn't allow us to access this pantry. And the thing is, I get really overwhelmed with things, and I was I don't know what to do with this stuff, so I just left it, and it's been awful. We can't get at half the crap in our pantry. It looks awful. Say what you will, I already know how bad it is. It's awful. That's the best word I have for it. So I knew when it was time to declutter this pantry that we'd have to take care of this stuff. Now, one of the best things you can do is if you have a place for something, go put it away. But a a lot of this stuff doesn't have a place because a lot of this will end up going like into my craft room or into a different area that's not decluttered, and it's kind of junky. Like a lot of these spaces have become catch-alls because I don't have things organized and I don't have things set up to function properly. And that's, part of this whole goal of decluttering my whole house. I need to get rid of the excess crap and then make the stuff that I'm keeping function for me. So all this stuff ended up here. Most of it's craft stuff. Some of it's like, groceries that we couldn't put away, and it just ended up on the floor. Clutter attracts clutter. It just kept getting worse. My daughter keeps showing you random various things. I don't know what the point of that is. But anyway, so some of it's food, which we just set aside. I'm taking a lesson from every time my mom helped me clean my room. You put things in piles, you group things together, you throw away the trash, things that have a home, go to their home. And then one of the things too, and I don't know if this is like good decluttering practice, but I kind of don't care if I empty a space and junk up another space. Now, I'm not saying that you should just take everything and toss it into an open space. But what I'm saying is, if you don't have a spot for something, yes, ideally you should probably just make a decision and probably get it out of your house. But that's not always an option. And to have somebody say, well, you should just get rid of it. You don't need that. And you don't have a spot for it. Yeah, right now I don't, because nothing is functioning in my house, but I will. And when I think about that phrasing, all I think of is Minimal Mom talking about your fantasy self and this, mythical future person that you want to be. But I'm not really viewing it like that, because if I don't have a functioning space to do a craft that I want to do, that doesn't make the craft stuff obsolete. It just means that I need to get things functioning. Now, if everything was functioning and then I still didn't use that thing, yeah, that's where I see that, I'm not going to hang on to it, but I never use it, but I have every opportunity to use it. If that makes sense. If you know, you know. If you know what I'm talking about, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyways, so I don't mind like the stuff in this space that I know that I will use. I just don't have a spot for it right now. I'm okay putting it into a different space until I get more areas to function for me. So that's what we were doing here. All of the stuff that I didn't have a home for, that I knew I wanted to keep, I had the kids just put in a different space. So it junked up another space. That's just kind of the tornado that is my life right now. And then all of the food, we made decisions on if it was something to keep, something to go, something that just needed to be put away. All of the, other things, if it had a home, we put it away, had the kids take their junk upstairs, pick up the dirty clothes or the trash or whatever. And we got everything taken care of and out of the space so we had room to work. And that was one of the main things with that. So as far as this space goes, in a future video, you'll see where all that clutter came from. And it'll kind of be like, oh no, you junked up your pantry again. But no, this is going to be a little bit out of order just with the way that I'm showing you these things. Because right now, meaning in February, is when I decluttered this pantry. But when I get to decluttering a different area, I'll show you where my desk was and where I put it. But then in that, you're going to see me junk up that pantry. So it's kind of going to be a little confusing. I'll probably re-explain it. It probably won't matter. I'm sure nobody's that invested in the drama of my life. But that's what's going on now. So,
okay, I'm kind of at a loss of where to even start. We've been trying to let the pantry dwindle down. It definitely got kind of crazy in here. I think this shelf would be the easiest because we don't really drink soda anymore, and this stuff we've just been using for like guests or once in a great while when somebody wants a soda. I don't buy it anymore, so once this is empty, it'll probably have another use. So this is probably the best place to start, I think. lot of teas. In my head, I like to drink tea. In reality, I don't make tea. But I'll just organize it a little better. This is like a boba making stuff. Pineapple juice, cherry juice. Little milks for the kids. My little pantry guardian. Oh, this is all. Ooh, I do drink these. I bought a case of this, I don't know, last year, maybe. You can tell how fast I go through them. I don't know what that means. But, stuff here. And then this is just a little bottle of sparkling cider that I didn't use down here.
So this pantry definitely is something that I want to fill with a lot more like homemade things. I started canning. I started, making a few dry mixes here and there. And and you can kind of see on that left side a little bit where I've got some of my home canned things. And I really want to get into making my own stuff, but I don't have a lot of space. And so, like I said, we don't drink soda anymore. It's pretty rare, and that shelf will get repurposed once it's empty and there's no soda left, because I haven't bought it in a long time. And that's one of those things. I would buy it on sale because we were drinking it regularly, and I kind of stockpiled it, and now we're just dwindling it down, and I don't buy it anymore. Some of these other shelves, it's just a mess. It's all a mess. I've got to reorganize everything. I had my husband come in, and he kept telling me he was going to put these lights up. And so I was like, I don't know, want to come do it? Or maybe he came down and mentioned something about it. So he put up some lights for me. You'll see that somewhere in here where now I can actually see that back shelf, and it's really nice. And then you saw briefly a few minutes ago those black shelves that have toys on them. So those toys were things that, when my older son was younger, he had these toys, and when he grew out of them, I was saving them for my younger son, because it's not something that I want to throw away. They're expensive toys. I knew he'd play with them someday, so I kept them, and I wanted to get them out and cleaned up so that he could actually use them. So we pulled those out of the back room, and I set them up in this area, because after I moved my desk out, there was kind of an open space over there, and that was my plan the whole time, was to set these toys up there.
Very nice. All right, I just did that bottom shelf there and organized everything, pulled out the stuff that we weren't going to eat, expired stuff that can go to the food bank. The last logical thing, I think, not last, but the next, would be to do the top shelf, because then this whole shelf is done and this whole shelf is done, and then I can at least have 2 shelves done. So I think that's what I'll do right now, unless, I don't know, I'll start on that.
If anybody has done like a decluttering project, it either is way too overwhelming and you gotta go to something smaller, or how I've been feeling is like, I just want to do everything. I want to just ransack the house and do everything. And I'm having to stop myself because I leave unfinished projects, because this pantry literally took the whole month of February to do. And I wasn't working on it every day. It was probably a day here and there. But still, I was working on it for the entire month, and I was like, I want to do like this drawer, or I want to do the dining room, or I want to do my closet or something like that. And the problem with that is, for myself at least, I get to a point where I will leave unfinished projects all over. And then when I try to go back to them, I either don't know what I was doing, I don't remember which part I was on, I get overwhelmed because now I have 10 projects that are in the works, and that's too much, Bob. I can't be doing that. So the way that I'm trying to work on my house is one space at a time, and I'm really trying to focus on that space. And it's been a little bit difficult because as you declutter and your spaces are clean, you get kind of protective of that space, and you're like, I don't want this messed up. So I find myself like, if I walk through the pantry now and I see something out of place, I fix it right away. If I come into my living room and, the kids are done playing with the toys or whatever, I either have them clean it up right away, or I'll just pick it up quick because it takes like half a second. And I want to keep that space clean, and I'm trying to focus on that more. And then I'm looking at these other spaces and I'm like, am I really going to take an entire year before I get this feeling like these other spaces that is so nice and so good and clean? So it's a little bit hard to reel myself in and try to not start too many projects, because I know if I do that, I'll just get overwhelmed and then everything will stop. And that's my personality. If you're not like that, good job, because I wish I didn't have to be like that. But that's what I do. I take on way too much, and then I get overwhelmed, and then everything stops, and then there's no progress for however long until I can wrap my brain around it again. So that's part of my big challenge with this, is not taking on too much all at once. So anywho, these are the toys that I was talking about. We're sorting through them. We're deciding what's things we're going to keep. Some of the stuff was just not stuff that they would ever play with, so we got rid of that. We've got like Little People and Imaginext and potato heads. Kids used to love the potato heads. So that's all down there. I pulled a rug that I also got from my sister. My daughter was using it in her room for a while, and then she decided she didn't want it anymore, which was fine because I never intended it for her room. I intended it exactly for this space, and that's why I grabbed it when my sister was getting rid of it. So we put that down there and set it up like a nice little play area. All right, here's where we're at with the pantry. We've got this whole space clean. It looks so nice. I just swept that. There's lots of like things that need to be put away. And then that's a craft box, so that'll just go in my back room. Those are all empty containers over there, and I think there's some that way as well. Those are Goodwill boxes. This, can you actually grab that box and put it by the desk over there with the craft projects? And then there's that's another craft box. There's some there's some garbage boxes and things. And then, so this is just cleanup now. Like we're done sorting, and we just got to put things away. Then we come over to the toys, and I need to sort the toys and scrub the toys because some of them are pretty nasty, and some of them we've got a lot of doubles. Well, maybe not a lot, but we have some doubles. And then I got to figure out what to do with those new toys. But then this will be done, and I'm so excited. And, my boys have been great helpers. He looks like I'm torturing him. They've been really good helpers with this, so I'm really happy. This is going really good. So that's our update. It looks like a tornado came through, but a better tornado than it was.
Oh, that's a double of these ones.
Is there?
Yeah. Yeah, there is. I saw one last
Okay.
time.
So I'm really happy with how it turned out. We did wash down a lot of the toys, and I do need to still wash the Little People. And as of now, it's, I don't know, March 15th. I have not washed the little people or the potato heads yet, but we did wash down all the Imaginext guys, and the pantry basically is done. So I'm really happy with how everything turned out. I know this was a longer video. I could keep yakking, but I should probably start wrapping it up. One last thing that I just wanted to mention is if you have a house that's not functioning for you, you've got clutter everywhere, you want to declutter, but it's just like, where the heck do you even start? Just pick a spot. Like, that's what I've been having to do. Throw this video on in the background. We can do it together. It kind of feels like body doubling if you have somebody yakking while you're trying to do something. Just pick any spot. It doesn't even matter. Pick a drawer, pick, a closet, pick the kitchen table. Just pick a spot and just do a little bit. And every time you do a little bit, you'll want to do a little bit more because it feels so good to get it cleaned off, get it decluttered, get it functioning again. And that's one of the things, like, it's one thing to just tidy up and, okay, I did that thing. But when you can get it to function better, it feels so much better and it makes you want to do more. So, let's do this together. I've got 9 more months, 10 more months of doing this so we can work on it together. I'm obviously not going to stop when the year is up if I'm not done. But let's tackle this room by room, project by project. I've finding myself lately doing like little smaller projects instead of the big projects because I want something quick that I can get done in a half hour, so I'm not leaving those unfinished projects everywhere. But just pick a thing and throw this video on and I'll yak while you work on things, and we can do this together, and that'll help, hopefully. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you're not subscribed, hit that button so you can catch all of my decluttering and all my other chaos around my house. Lots of cooking and, some goal progress coming up and things like that. So if you're not subscribed and you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button and let's get this stuff tackled together. And I will catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.